Well, hello everyone. Today we are having a conversation with Lacey Lynne and her business, Sacred Tantra. Lacey is my former apprentice in Ascension of Intimacy School of Tantra. She has just graduated in February, and now she is a Tantra facilitator and intimacy coach. So, welcome, Lacey. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you again. I know we had one almost a year ago, right? When you were
Yeah.
in the process on this journey of apprenticeship, of self exploration, learning Tantra, exploring community, working in our container. And that was such a different version of you, right? So I'll still keep that interview. And I really, really wanted to have this new conversation and really want you to be seen and express yourself with your in your new identity. So how would you present yourself now? Yourself and your business, where you're at now, when you graduated and when you successfully launched your business. I know you have great success, great momentum. So many people are drawn to your work in Utah. So I would like to hear how it feels to be where you're at now and what is your new identity now?
Yeah, so that's a beautiful question. And I love that you're phrasing that with my new identity because I think for a while before I found Tantra, I really wasn't even sure of who I was. And so having gone through this process with Tantra, it was interesting because I first got into it really doing it for myself. And even when I had accepted the apprenticeship, I think that there was a part of me that was hopeful that I could maybe create a business and help others as well. But for the most part, my intention was really just to focus on my own healing and work. And so it's been interesting because so much has happened through the apprenticeship. And it's been so incredible because being a part of it, not only have you been able to teach and cultivate these gifts that I have felt within me that you saw in me, I know, before I even saw myself, um, I've been able to embody it. And I didn't even realize that that was going to be a part of the process. I just started seeing, and I know we all feel this way within the apprenticeship, that we really started living these modules and fully embodying them. And what that did was it really gave me a beautiful foundation to connect with other people in a way that was such a deeper connection because they were lived experiences, not just taught and cultivated, but truly embodied throughout the apprenticeship that we had together. And it's funny because I think in hindsight, of course, there was embodiment. Of course, we're embodying it all. I think for me, and I shared this with someone the other day, there's so many, you can't really define tantra, right? It's a way of life. People are living a tantric life and they don't even realize it, just even going to the gym. And for me, when there's been people kind of having a hard time understanding it as just, this spiritual path or embodiment, um, at the core of it, it is being embodied, which has been such a beautiful process to learn and understand and completely embody um, through Tantra and learn how to descend deeper within the body. Um, and so, my path with Tantra, as I continue to go through this apprenticeship and learn so much and allow you and the people around me within our apprenticeship help cultivate these gifts that were within me, it's actually allowed me to step into a position of leadership and a sense of power that I was not expecting at all. And that's been really incredible to witness for myself because I just wasn't really sure. I just knew, well, at the end of the day, I don't want to do this for myself, but I was so connected to Tantra and I love sharing it so much. And I was embodying so many experiences. All of that really helped cultivate these deep roots within me and this longing that I knew I had more of a role and a purpose than just focusing on myself and even the relationship within my partnership or the people around me. So I guess when it comes to identity, I'm still learning more about that, but I call myself a tantrika, an ocean breath facilitator, because that's what I really resonated the most with. And I'm really, really proud of myself. I feel like I remember the first time I made a post coming out saying, I am Lacey Lynne. I'm a tantrika and ocean breath facilitator. I knew in that moment it was like this threshold where the like universe, the divine, my higher self was like, you're finally claiming what is yours. And this is who you are. And once I understood that and I understood my path, um, I've had a lot of beautiful experiences along the way that have continued to help me grow and cultivate and create a following that I was not expecting at all. So it's been a very divinely guided path, I will say. But I put in a lot of work as well. Like I've done a lot of processing and integration and learning. And yeah, so.
Thank you, Lacey. Yes, it was such an honor and amazing experience to witness your evolution and your transformation and your devotion to Tantra, right? Tantra is like a spiritual practice. So there is always this element of being devoted to the path, understanding what is yours, like choosing from this space of inner guidance. And it's been miraculous to actually witness you because you felt at the beginning, I remember, that you are the least experienced. You didn't, maybe do as many, trainings as other people. Yet you're the one who now the one who is rising so high and expanding so quickly, like basically it's like I see it as a quantum leap when people talk about that. And it's all because of your devotion. It's all because of your commitment, your inner work, the way you showed up, the way you stayed, during the hardest times. And it's beautiful to, when you were talking about your old identity and maybe not seeing the gifts that you have. And like, I see this sacral power within you, right? And your connection between your sacral center and your heart, that's who you are. And that's where your power is located. And that's, from my perspective, that's one of the most powerful expression of the feminine archetype. So I would like to hear from you, how did you discover your inner tantrika? Was this a moment of realization? Is like, oh, okay, this is my gift. This is who I am. This is my power. Because many times when we look at ourselves and we don't really see our gift because it's so organic, it's so natural to our being that we don't even see greatness behind it, right? And then we started that conversation. We started that unfolding path for you. You went through like lots of rite of passages. And at some point you became aware, it's like, well, yes, I am Tantrika. I am powerful in this way. I am guided from within, from the sacral, from the heart. So can you share a little bit more about that experience and what it means for you? Because many times, women have longing to activate that sacral center, that this, the center of sexuality, it's a center of creativity, the feminine expression, magnetism, this erotic power that is not just covering, sex and sexuality, like many people think. It's a life force energy within us, right? And it's this magnetic feminine presence that pulls everything in to her. And I know the stories when you were like just talking to people in the gym and they were like putting your hands in their hearts and they start crying because they feel your embodiment, they feel your embodied leadership. So can you share a little bit more about this discovery?
Yeah, I would love to share that. So I will say, when I was first introduced to Tantra, I'd heard about it. But Sean and I, my partner, him and I really started doing these practices, and I just felt so connected to it. I absolutely loved it. And so when I went to like my first and second Tantra retreats with you, which were incredible and beautiful, I just had these most beautiful experiences there that I felt like were a testament to me that this is my path. This is my purpose. Because, and I will say, I don't know if I would have seen that in myself. I think a lot of people know exactly who they are. They know who they are. But for me, what gave me a little bit more strength and courage to keep on moving forward were the people who were reflecting back to me, like, you have a special gift. There's something happening here. And it was unique because I've had experiences specifically at the gym, in yoga, mainly my yoga people who are very spiritually open. And like when I've had those situations happen at the gym, which it's happened with about 3 people at least, where I've like just put my hand on their heart, or maybe like my other friend, I could just feel the energy behind her radiating. And I was just in front of her in yoga, but I could feel it. And I just turned around and I like just put my hand on her foot, like in the arch. And I looked at her and I was like, it's gonna be okay. You got this. And then she looked at me, and you can tell in her face and everything that she just softened. And then she shared with me later what a powerful experience that was. And, I'd even had, some other experiences like you had shared where I just put my hand on their heart and I just saw them. But I also don't think that they would have been ready to receive that if they weren't open to it. So it's been very beautiful. But when I've had experiences like that, there's been quite a few since I've been on this journey, where people have mentioned that they've felt something with me that they've never felt before. And I'm a very loving and open person. Like the love that I have to give, I will say, is very genuine. I went through that experience when I was 17 where I had this full awakening, kind of in a sense, that I didn't quite understand until later in my life. And one of those things that happened to me was like, I felt like my heart, the love inside it expanded a million times that day. And that's something that's never left me. So being able to share that gift with others and have them reflect back to me that like you something changed, something shifted. That reflection, and that mirror that were able to share with me actually kind of helped me have, I guess, a little bit more belief in myself that there is something here. And I'm shifting people within just moments. And I started realizing like that this is a huge part of my gift. And touch is huge, right? Being a tantrika, we're embodied, and I'm very energetic, so I can feel into people. And when I do connect, I intentionally connect, sending them love, and light. And so I think through experience, through other people, and having them reflect back to me what they felt. I mean, it's not always been positive, right? But I am also aware that the people who have reflected back to me maybe something that was more of a protection or shadow work on them. Now I understand it's like, well, just because I'm, a tantrika and I always want to show up with love and an open heart and give love and light, there's a lot of wounding in other people. And so I understand that that can be a trigger for them as well. So I think there's kind of two sides of the coin where, um, I do believe I'm here to help people go through spiritual awakenings and rite of passages, but I'm also a catalyst to activate them in other people as well. And so that's been tough at times, but I also keep on reminding myself this is what it's like to step in leadership position And I know I'm not above anyone. We're all here weaving together. But when you're in that spotlight, there is going to be judgment. And it's not always going to be easy, but there's also going to be a lot of love and receptivity. And so, yeah, I think I'm just kind of learning still, again, my path and where that's at and how to navigate it. And, but I, I guess to really sum it up is not only have I felt intuitively connected to this, knowing my life path, knowing, even my human design, like my power center is in my sacral, which I didn't realize. And you were like, I think this is where it's at. Like, that makes a lot of sense. Like, I've always been a very, I guess, sexual, sensual human being. I've loved touch. And I think that's a superpower, but to other people, it doesn't come off that way. But being in Tantra has allowed me to see the beauty in all of it. And so that's been very empowering. I think the reflection from the response I've received from clients and from friends and people within the community and even outside the community who barely know me have given me confirmation that like something more is happening, and I could feel it too. Like I could feel things activating. Like I have my energy. I know Kundalini might be a strong word for some people, but I feel a lot of energy in my hands. And I've always had that. So I'm grateful to be in a place like I'm grateful to be able to be a tantrika and to really help people feel embodied, especially through my own touch, because I do feel like I'm able to help them feel into that energy and help guide that energy to move through them. And people have had incredible processes and experiences, as you know. And that's really allowed me to step into my power and trust the path, trust the journey, but most importantly, to trust myself.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah, so what you're talking about is embodied tantric leadership, right? And you stepped into this leadership with your full presence, full devotion, full guidance. And it's not something that we need to intellectually comprehend and always like know what to say or prepare or be so experienced that you can pull up all the stories about your journey. It's about your presence, right? It's about your capacity to create that field around you that attracts people. And when people step into this field, they feel safe, they feel seen, they feel supported, they feel inspired. You share that energy, and this is the leap that we experience right now in leadership, because the old leadership paradigm, the same as the old relational paradigm, is extremely outdated now, and people crave leaders who are embodied. It means they're present, they're now in this moment. They don't need to like prepare their speech. They channel from this embodied moment, from their inner connection, from being relaxed into their truth, their power, right? And this is what the sacred gift also means. Sometimes people misinterpret it, and sometimes people misinterpret the word tantra, right? And tantrika, right, associating with the seduction, there's certain techniques, with the sexual work, but you really represent someone who really stepped up to this higher expression of tantric embodiment. And you still have that innocence, they still have this pure energy that comes from the heart and pours into people. So it helps people to really feel safe in their bodies and also love their more primal selves, their bodies, their sexuality, their sacral power, like their womb, right there. This parts of ourselves that were kind of oppressed, right, by culture. In many religious traditions, body is seen as sinful, right? And here in Tantra, we embrace body as a divine expression, right? And that's the reason we're here in this world. So I really wanted to emphasize that you really embodied this tantric leadership that is so different from the old leadership paradigm. You like manipulate the minds, use the certain words, and inspire people through any kind of narrative or any kind of conditioning or persuasion. This type of leadership, this tantric leadership, is completely different, and it's so much about bringing the feminine back, the true feminine back, and you really represent that. So I just wanted to emphasize that, and also would like to hear the story, the dark side of the story, in terms of like, how did you walk through all these challenges, and how did you manage situations when people did project on you? Because there is so much wounding, right, for women and for men too, but specifically like in women's community, there is so much wounding around sexuality, and there is also this hidden kind of current of competition and jealousy and projections, because of our history, because of our heritage, right? How we women lived for thousands of years, right? So, and there is nobody's fault, right? We all can experience elements of this, but originally feminine is not competitive. Originally feminine is very collaborative, communal, right? Relational. Sisterhood is about co-creating. It's about supporting each other. It's about growing together. It's about thriving together. And, because of our history, because of our wounding, we have forgotten that. And I feel you really understand this journey, what we're co-creating these days, right? How we're also collaborating within our school of Tantra, even outside of the apprenticeship, and what shaped you, all the challenges that you went through, they actually shaped you to become that. And you had huge lessons and huge initiations. So I would like to hear whatever you feel comfortable to share, obviously. What kind of rite of passage did you experience? Like last spring, we had this community rupture, and there were some conflicts, and there were some painful situations that were not necessarily necessary, right? But you found yourself inside of the situations, and of course, we supported you as a community, and you received support to navigate it, but you're the one who walked through it, and you're the one who allowed yourself to transform from little girl who got overwhelmed and scared, to this embodied leader who owns her truth and walks unapologetically to the highest expression of who you are and your leadership, and helping others to become that. So can you share a little bit about that? Because, and it is to your level of comfort, of course, what you're comfortable with, but I feel it's such an important initiation. And some people are so afraid that, like, oh my God, what if something happens? What if people project on me? What if people judge me, right? But you walk through it with so much dignity and so much truth, right? Embodied truth. So I would like to hear a little bit about that experience.
Yeah. So that's a great question, and I'm open to sharing. It was really hard. So I was within a community that I had first gone to because I felt like it was kind of my last resort on my healing journey. I had gone through a lot in life, through divorce, through actually trying to take my life at one point. And after that, though, it was a huge spiritual awakening for me. And so I see the gifts in the darkness. I see the gifts in the shadow. You can't have one without the other. And, but because of all that, like I found myself at this community or within this community that I felt like I was divinely guided to, and I believe I still was. But it was interesting because there were either people who, because the love, like I'm a mirror. I truly do believe I'm a mirror. I'm also like a life path 11. And life path 11s tend to be mirrors and reflectors. And not only that, I'm a twin who's also clearly a life path 11. And so it's the synergy within that. And I was also born in the 11th month. And I had come into this community. I was very new, but I felt like I had been divinely guided. I just was at a place where I had tried everything. Like I had tried, meditation. I had gotten off of like medications I had been on. I was running, I was working out. I felt I was doing everything right, but I was noticing my body was just still holding on to trauma. And so anyway, so when I came to this community, I thought like, I'm meant to be here. I finally found my tribe. But it was interesting because there were a lot of projections on me. And that was one of the toughest parts because I wasn't aware that people were projecting and saying things behind my back that I was unaware of. But there were also people there who had shared experiences. Like, there was one person in particular where he said the first time he had met me at one of these journeys, I knew that he had been going through a divorce, and I just came up to him and I gave him my love. Like I just hugged him. And it was interesting because I just was me. But after he later shared with people close to him and later to me that it was a love that he had never felt before. And this is something that has happened with other people in my life, as you know. So I'm just sharing this to kind of give the contrast within the community. And it came to a point where I'd come to this community feeling like I needed someone to help heal me. And what it turned out that like I think I was such a massive mirror and a reflection, like because of the synergy within even my life path and everything that's going on. And I'm sharing this because it allows me to make more sense of what happened, because this community had roots that ran deep. And I feel like I was the straw that broke the camel's back. And that was really hard for me to be like newly in a community and then realizing like for some reason, I was worried that I was the problem. It was me. I had no idea. And the saddest part is all I did just was show up to do the work because I needed help. I had no other resorts. Like I'm like, this was my last resort because I needed more help.
And we're talking about a different community that was not our tantric group, but it was like another community.
Let's clarify that. Yeah. And I'll kind of wrap this up. I guess I'm giving it probably a little bit too much context for everyone, but what helped me getting through that, because like the community really separated. This community that had roots going so deep, like people knowing each other from childhood, it completely collapsed. And knowing my life path and my numerology, my astrology, now I'm like, well, I'm a master reflector. I show everybody what they need to see, whether that's the love that they need or the dark side, like for them to reflect on. But this is what I learned in that community. I learned that the healers there, right, the people who I came to as a last resort, that I felt like might help me somehow find a way to process through everything my body had been holding on to. Because it was hard for me to coexist in life with other people, and that wasn't normal for me. What I learned from it was that they had actually done their job better than I'd ever imagined, because what they showed me was that, and taught me without knowing it, that I am my own inner healer. And when I like came to that realization, it allowed me to have understanding and compassion for myself. Because as you know, it was really, really hard for me. I blamed myself completely. And the toughest part is I'm just sitting there like, I just showed up to do the work with an open heart. And I'll say what also helped me in that situation was having you and someone else in our apprenticeship, our community, who saw me. And you guys both told me, like, this is not okay. What happened to you is not okay. And if I hadn't had that reflected to me, I would have completely have shut down and taken it all upon me and been like, something's wrong with me, because I was very in my feminine, and I was sensual and sexual too without realizing what I was doing. But my power is in my sacral center. But I was just me, like just being open and loving and willing and ready to do the work. And I know that that triggered a lot of people within the community, mainly the women, which I didn't know about till later. Um, but at the same time, it makes sense because, and hopefully this is okay to share, but when you're raised in Utah or within a religious community, um, there's a lot of trauma around it because we're not taught anything about our bodies at all. Like our bodies are to have babies and to, help please the man. It wasn't till I came upon Tantra that I learned like my pleasure is my responsibility. And this is a beautiful thing. And why am I shutting it down? And so I was able to have a lot of compassion for the people within that community as well. And I still do, because I know that whatever was reflected to them through me was for them and not me. It was just a projection. And I think what's difficult is even the facilitators in that community and the people within it, I realized they didn't want to process why they felt triggered by me. They wanted to just shut it down, but I could tell it was because it was like almost like they wanted to be open and alive and step away from the religion and be free like me, like be totally embodied in my feminine and my sexuality, my sensuality, and just be open. But their trauma has roots that go all the way to childbirth, especially if they were born and raised within those kinds of religions. And so as a leader, and as a reflector, a mirror to other people as well, I understood that that was just it's their trauma, not mine. So I understood that I didn't need to take that upon me. I just need to continue to show up, be authentic. And I mean, for me, I think that was one of the things too, where I could genuinely look anybody in the eyes and say, all I did was show up to do the work with an open heart. Like that was my last resort. I mean, I was, and unfortunately, I did a lot of people pleasing and fawning too, which I wasn't aware of until I was in that community, because there were a lot of things that were happening that weren't okay, but I didn't know. I wasn't sure. I was brand new to the community. So I guess to sum this all up, my initiation through that, and I know you were part of a lot of it too, was so huge, but it was so needed. And I have quantum leaped, I have quantum shifted in so many ways. And it was a huge initiation, but I've learned so much. I learned about who I wanted to be as a leader. And I learned that I'm not here to help heal anyone. I'm just here to be a conduit, a facilitator for those who are willing and ready to open up their heart and do the work. And sometimes they're not. And that is kind of, I wouldn't say the shadow side of it, but you can't have the light without the dark, where there are going to be people I'm very aware of stepping into leadership position who have already cast judgments upon me, and people close to me too. And I've really had to step up and center myself and remind myself of who I am and know that this is my path, this is my purpose, and that's going to be a part of my path, and that's okay. And then having people like you and other people within our community who have been like, whoa, 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 you didn't do anything wrong. This is not okay. And a lot of people felt the same way. And so that reflection, that mirror back to me as well, was important for me, because it reassured me that like nothing was wrong with me. But that was tough, but it taught me a lot of lessons. And I know that I'm good, like such a better leader, um, and facilitator, because I know what I'm not going to do
Mhm.
as well. And so it's helped me be able to create these containers with these people within my own events or even with private clients where I do make sure they feel safe, they feel heard, they feel seen, they feel loved. And I think that when they're ready to do the work, they genuinely feel that from me. And it allows them to really surrender to the process. Yeah.
So beautiful and powerful. Yes, I witnessed all of that. And I just want to reflect back and really feature certain parts of what you shared and like really open up the topic about being an intimacy coach, being a tantra facilitator in the modern world, especially in the places where there is still very strong like religious or cultural conditioning. There is lots of wounding around feminine sexual power, which doesn't need to be only about sex. It's about our life force energy and the way we show up in the world and the way we connect it with our hearts and the way we love and hold people, right? And there is still lots of projection from the wounded sexuality, from the wounded time when the old paradigm where women were judged for just being this expression of life force energy, sexual energy, sensual, like magnetic, feminine. And the way you embody that, that's what I'm really proud about. And that's the quality that I really, really, really wanted to transfer to all of you, all the apprentices, is to stay energetically clean, energetically pure, connected to the heart, and embody our sexual power in the most in the highest level of integrity, right? So we're not really messing around, we're really knowing our boundaries, we know how we show up, right? In our school of tantra, we don't really work directly with direct sexual practices,
Right.
and we work with energy in the body, right? And the way we stay pure, we stay on our integrity, we stay protected, that nothing bad happens to us because of this capacity to lead this way, because of this capacity to show up in our power without any kind of like distortion or fear of judgment, or trying to use sexual powers to manipulate, right? Like the seductive power, right? It's still very popular thing that people teach. Now in our school, we change it to like, no, we can guide people to their power. We don't need to seduce anybody, because seduction is in a way like a manipulation, but we can use it as a play, right? We can use it as a invitation to dance in this field, to connect, to be open, at the same time to really understand our boundaries, to really understand that some people don't even know their boundaries. Like maybe is no, right? If somebody's not sure about something, somebody has fear about something, there is a boundary there to look at and guide others to stay in that field. And that's something that I remember was sharing with all of you, like how nothing can really stick to you when you're energetically clean, when you know your boundaries, when you're in your highest integrity, when you know how to show up and not to attach yourself to any kind of external narratives, of what it should be, tantrika, tantra, because people project a lot of stuff on us. So I'm curious how tantra helps you to navigate all this experiences, all these situations. And I know you're a really devoted practitioner, the one who actually practices tantra on a regular basis. And I know you're really connected, and you really drop into your body and to your spirit so quickly and so easily, because that's what it is. We are in a way in the flow states, and when we embody this tantric lifestyle, we start to live from this very deep space of presence, like a flow state, right? We don't really need to constantly overthink or prepare. We're not living in our head, we're in our body, and we're constantly guided. So we don't have the fear, oh, what's next? What should we do? What's going to come? We're not really overwhelmed by the fear of the future, because we're so present and rooted. And I know you learned also the rooting piece was important for you. So tell us a little bit more about your relationship with Tantra and how it helped you navigate all these situations, and it actually led you to the high expression rather than like shutting it down, right? Which is so easy to shut it down when somebody is like projecting something on you.
Yeah.
But you didn't. You stepped up instead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let me see how I can answer this question fully. I will say the first thing that really helped me was when you had taught me, Lacey, your gifts come through you, not to you. And then what had come to me as well was that, but they can't be cultivated by the people you surround yourself with. And so when you talk about kind of channeling and being in flow, it's been a really interesting experience, especially with my events that I've done. There's been times where I'm up and I'm sharing and I'm educating a little bit before we drop into our processes. And like I'll kind of look back on the video, or someone will come up and say, like, love something that I shared. And it's almost like a little hazy sometimes. And I I actually believe it's because I'm channeling. Like things are just coming through me. And so having that understanding, like one of my affirmations at night is, my gifts come through me, not to me. That means I can trust them. So that's been something that's really helped me stay embodied, um, with, just with trusting myself and trusting my gifts and trusting these talents. Um, and then, were you talking about judgment as well? Like, how do I handle the judgment, or um, with other people and whatnot? Um, so with that,
With the practice of Tantra and your practice, because I remember you were sharing, it's like doing the practice and receiving that guidance that comes
right?
so much from the depth of your being, from your spirit,
Yeah,
from your guides. And
yeah,
that is also a very important element of tantric practice. It's not just like feeling
mhm,
pleasure, right? Many people connect it like, yes, absolutely, we feel pleasure, we feel all the sensation, we're activating ourselves, all our senses, sensory activation,
yeah,
but we also connect with the spiritual
yeah,
guidance within ourselves, right? And you, besides receiving support from us, from me as your mentor, and the community that was holding you, you also tapped into this inner guidance that was so precise and so
yeah.
clear, right?
Mhm. Yeah, so absolutely. I mean, I could tap into some other things that might feel a little bit more esoteric to people. I don't know if that's the right word, but like when I've created these processes and whatnot for people, a lot of the times I receive these downloads, like even the activations and how I take people through them wasn't something that necessarily like like you do activations, but I have my own signature, I guess,
Mhm.
right? My own little imprint on how people take people through these activations. And it's been incredible to all of a sudden, like once you know, I hold the vision, and then I just kind of once I have clear intention and I just start really focusing on what it is I want to create. It's been so wild to have just these downloads and these knowings and these insights just come through me, which has been very surreal. To go even a little bit more into that, um, I've had dreams that have given me very, very clear, direct messages, and very archetypal dreams. And I started having them after my first event back in November 2022, which, or not 2022, November 22nd, 2025. Um, Before that event, I actually wasn't sure what I was really going to do with Tantra, but I just knew I wanted it for myself. And I kind of had faith in this deep knowing that something would come through. But after I did my first event, it was almost like an initiation. And then the portal was open. And it's been such a wild ride. Like if I were to have known even 6 months ago, or however long, I don't know, like be at least before November, if I had known that I would be holding my own events and that I'd be selling them out for the most part, and
Mhm.
um I probably would have died of a heart attack because that's not what I do. I'm like here to just help support. Like I wasn't really planning on really stepping into this leadership position. But all of it's just been kind of channeled. It's all been very organic. Like nothing's been premeditated. It's just, I just start having these knowings and these insights. And then what I've done with the processes that I've done with clients privately, but also almost more so for my events, is I incorporate a lot of the things that have been taught, but then a huge part of it is just the channeling that kind of comes through me, where like I'm even guided towards how I want to channel the energy through people's bodies, because your breath, right, as you've taught us, moves energy. And so it's been such a wild experience. I'm still kind of like pinching myself at times, like, is this really happening? Because I would have never thought in a million years I'd be holding my own events. And now not only am I just holding my own events, I'm seeing people. Like I've been in this spiritual community and done other women's events and retreats, enough to know really incredible people where I would love to collaborate with them too and kind of weave tantra into whatever it is they might be offering as well. And people have been so receptive. Like I've just been blown away. And people have had the most incredible experiences at these events or even within my private sessions. And so I guess at the end of the day too, it's like, I just know I must be doing something right. Like this is my path, this is my purpose. And people, I'm very aware, and it's not always easy. I'm still new at this, but I'm very aware of like the leadership, being in leadership and creating such a platform that I'm creating, which I feel like is like beyond my control now. Like I was like, what's happening? Can we just slow down just for a little bit? Like, but I'm riding the wave. But when it comes to the judgments of other people, like there's a lot of people who don't come back. And how I handle that is I just know personally that I truly believe there's an infinite ways to get to where you want to go in life. Not every path is meant for someone. So you just kind of need, I think this is how we're good at leaders. When you're a leader, most leaders are good at making decisions. Like, and they make them quick and they just make a choice and they move forward. Right. Like, cause you're going to get to where you want to go typically, right? If you just stay focused on that vision, on that destination. And so for me, it's easy. Like I understand, like I let people know, like in Tantra, maybe it's a no. And if they don't show up again, or maybe they're casting their own judgments and projections on me, I just know it's something for them to reflect on and not for me to take on. And I honor their path. I honor their lineage. Even within Tantra, people have come at me. And all I say is like, well, there's a lot of different lineages with how we're taught. Like, that's a beautiful path. And I've kind of killed them with kindness on social media. And they've been like, oh, like, thank you for honoring my path. Like, I've not been like rude or anything. And surprisingly, people have come around and they've been like, oh, that's really beautiful. So I think that's just kind of where it helps me integrate and also not take judgments so harshly, because I know that's for them to work through. And Tantra's not everybody's path, and that's okay. Maybe that's just not where they're at right now, but I love it. And one of the things that makes me love Tantra so much is people are actually living more of a tantric life than they know. Just going to the gym and lifting those weights and focusing on your muscles and breathing through your repetitions.
Mm-hmm.
They're living a tantric life and they don't even know it. They just have their own stereotype, their own projection on what it might be. But Tantra is about just learning to be in the body, but also a lot of it is about the heart too. So, yeah. So I guess that's helped a lot. But then also having you guys within the tribe, the people who see me and know me when I've had hard times, where people close to me have projected on me, and that's been really tough. I'm just grateful that I can go to you all to be able to kind of reflect and mirror back to me, like, maybe you should process through this, or this is something that's not, this is a projection, Lacey. So this isn't something you need to take on. So that helps me a ton for sure.
Mm. Yeah, so powerful. Yeah, the power of tantric community, the relationships that we build with each other. Like at the beginning, remember we were talking about like, okay, we are the crew, and
Yes.
we are taking this journey, departing from this familiar lands that shaped us, right, into the unknown, exploring new horizons, discovering new worlds. And we had that sense of wonder, a sense of adventure. And the way this group came together was also like an opening, and in time space is like, wow, these people just showed up, right? And I remember that first session with you all, and that we started this journey together, and where it took us, right? This is amazing. So like, what was the experience with the community? What was the role of the tantric community, and the way we lived these modules? Like, I know you and Lisa both agreed, and other apprentices, that we actually live this module. It's not just like the material, like to process in the mind, which everything was super organized as well, right? Lots of materials, lots of learning, lots of weaving Asian tradition of Tantra and lineage of non-dual Shaiva Shakti Tantra kind of essence into modern psychology, into modern trauma therapy, awareness of the body, neuroscience, right? Nonviolent communication, all these modalities were weaved. So we lived them, especially like, I remember we all got stuck in the trauma informed Tantra, because
Yeah.
it brought all the shadow of our own experience with our body, living in this world, right? Our relationships. And it brought everything to the surface, and we all navigated with grace, with respect, with mutual support. So I would like, and also relational intelligence. This is something, such a big piece that I feel is missing in many leadership schools, in many tantric schools, in many healing communities. Relational intelligence is different than emotional intelligence, right? It's something that we've learned how we relate and how we bridge the differences between personality, souls, the way our nervous system is wired, right? Feminine, masculine. So I would like to hear these two pieces also, the power of community, tantric community, and relational intelligence, and like also being trauma informed, because many times people go to healing, communities or healing workshops, and sometimes the space is not quite safe, and they might feel re-traumatized, and they shut it down and don't want to be seen anymore because somebody projected something on this. So I do feel we created safety to go deep, but I would like to hear it from you, like on these two pieces.
Okay, so first the one word, like how I feel about the role within the community,
Mm-hmm.
like our community, and then the second one was
Living these modules, and
oh
especially
yeah, like the
relational
living one.
intelligence and
Yeah.
trauma informed approach.
Yeah. So I'll start with the community and living within, like within our tribe, within the Tantra Apprenticeship. Um, it was interesting. It was really wild. I didn't realize that we were all like living these modules that that we were going through, and all of a sudden it was like we were all embodying them. And I just had this understanding where I was like, oh my gosh, like when we gave our sacred yes, like we kind of opened up this portal where not only are you teaching us and helping cultivate our own gifts and our own medicine within ourselves, but we actually are embodying them. And it was so wild because every single module you took us through, like we were all like, oh man, like this is tough. Like, am I going to get through this? And I kept on comparing it to Jumanji because I was like, well, at least they survive in the end. Like, are we going to make it through? Um, but it was so beautiful because when I saw that, I understood that as tantrikas, we are embodied. And at least for myself, I'm I've always known that like I'm better at learning through experience rather than just being taught. And so it makes sense to me in hindsight as well that like being able to embody each module with real life experiences that started coming up in my life was so beautiful, because then I was able to help be like process through them, especially within you guys within the community. And obviously not everybody lasted. And I don't, I'm not going to go into everybody, but it was interesting because I kind of felt like I had this moment, these big downloads where, some people just couldn't stay consistent. They stopped showing up. And my feeling, I don't know this to be true, is that their shadows, like their trauma, their the work that was coming up for them, the embodiment part that we were all feeling, that we were all like, fuck, probably shouldn't say that on YouTube, right? Holy moly, like how are we gonna get through this? They kind of shut down. They weren't willing to look at themselves, I think, in the mirror and process through that and then integrate it. And so what I feel is the people who actually made it through the whole apprenticeship, they were able to see the reflection, the trauma, what was coming up for them. And instead of running away from it, we had support within each other. We had understanding. We were taught about trauma informed Tantra as well. Things like that really helped us not run away from what was coming up for us in these modules, but to be open, vulnerable, communicate, having that piece of relational intelligence, like bridging that gap between each other, and having these different perspectives too, as well, of from other people within our tribe, our Tantra tribe, to reflect back to us, like, well, maybe this is coming up for you, and this is why. So instead of us running away, we continue to show up with an open heart and an open mind to do the work and embody all of it. And because we've embodied so much, every single module, that makes us even better leaders. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm really proud of ourselves for doing that. But when you embody it, like when you first, like, there's that awareness I've learned. You're aware of what's happening. You're like, oh, these patterns, these cycles, these triggers, these traumas are coming up for you. So you have that awareness, right? But then having that awareness kind of allows you to have some understanding. And awareness is being embodied. And once you learn how to embody it and you integrate it, right? Integrate it, mm-hmm. Then that's when you're able to really be able to help and guide other people as well. And I hope that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like
absolutely, it's a lived experience,
right? Because
you
it's
lived
lived experience, but it's also like it's that embodied experience. And when you have awareness and you continue to stay embodied instead of just living in chaos, but you have that awareness, and then you have your tools, and you're able to integrate it into your body and remain rooted, then that's really how the integration happens. And I saw that there's some people, and I see this in other people now, where they're having this awareness, but they're not integrating it because they're not learning how to embody it and really process through it. And it's through your body and your breath and staying grounded and rooted that allows you to integrate it. And that integration, again, through embodied experience, is what is one of the most beautiful parts about being able to help guide other people who are ready to be on this path as well. And so when it comes to relational intelligence and trauma-informed Tantra, those have been really beautiful. I think relational intelligence is something that I'm still working on, but I love how you've brought it up, because I feel like a lot of people are having a hard time bridging that gap of, being able to understand and see each other and be able to communicate in a way that we can all coexist still. It's not like one way or the highway. And I know there's a lot of different aspects to that relational intelligent part as well. But and then also being aware of, trauma informed tantra. Like when I do my events, I make sure I'm creating a safe container. And I feel so confident in the container that I create, with the people I'm creating, with the intention, that I let them know, like, this is a safe place for you to surrender to. So whatever comes up for you in this moment is meant to come up. Trust your body. Trust your breath. I mean, at least for me, I let them know, you would be re-traumatized, and you taught me this, if it was outside of a container that was unsafe. So what I do intentionally, and I really do kind of like a ritual, I literally will walk around the perimeter and start creating a container for these people and these women and men who are open and willing and ready to do the work. So that we can be there to support them and allow them to really surrender to the process. But having been taught trauma-informed tantra, I mean, agreements are huge. Consent is a huge part of it. I mean, even though I have, people fill out forms, we still ask for consent within the sacred container, because they always have the ability to change their sacred yes to a sacred no as well. But then I also make sure there's people there that aren't just me. So when I am holding the container and taking them through a very powerful activation, there are women there, or, men could be there at some point. But typically the people I've collaborated with so far, I make sure there's people there who can help these women process, and men, if they need it. They could raise their hand or whatever. So I do, when it comes to trauma, I really try to be very proactive about that. And surprisingly, I haven't been afraid when I've created these containers. I've let them know, I got you. Like, I am here for you, but also know you're your own inner healer. I'm just a conduit as well, facilitator. So I just remind them to trust their breath and trust their body. They're always in control. And people have had the most beautiful experiences. It's again been so beautiful to see the reflection, because I will say, I think there's people in life who just know who they are. And for me, I know who I am, but it helps to hear people reflect back to me that things are shifting, things are changing. And that's helped me really step into being continue to step into my role, and my purpose, like my passion in life, to be a tantrika, the tantrika that you saw in me before I saw in myself, and then the people around me. And I think this is exactly what is needed during this time here on earth. So many people are not embodied. And so I'm super grateful for the people who've been wanting to connect and come to these events or work with me privately, and with you as well, because I'm like, they're ready. It's time. Times are shifting. In a lot of them are actually men. Men wanting even their partners to come, and their partners aren't showing up, but they're still coming to the events. And I love that. We are bringing that feminine, that feminine flow, that divine feminine, back in with the masculine, and the masculine are wanting to feel that too. So
yes,
I hope that answered your questions. I'm not sure.
yes, absolutely. Yes, we're bridging feminine masculine, and this is the time we're beginning this transition from like feminine empowerment only and the matriarchy, and it's all needed because we've been stuck in patriarchy for so many thousands of years, and women become really powerful in the feminine way, and the community of women supporting each other is absolutely amazing. Women rising, become wealthy, do the healing work together. This is so powerful, and a new chapter is opening up in this leadership of the sacred union, right? That we integrate the masculine back in a healthy way, and we're building the bridge between feminine masculine, healing the old wounds, and then we're leading together, right? So like, it's such a great sign to see men showing up and doing their work and wanting to meet their feminine partners with honor and appreciation and devotion, and be that empowered masculine that these days many men are still very confused what it means. So we do provide that safe space, right, where the system can actually be rewired. What is safe space? Safe space is where you can come with your trauma, you can open up, and you can have experience that will rewire your past, your nervous system literally reliving something that feels dangerous in a safe way. So it is the art, and I see it as a healing and intimate art, creating this kind of space. And I do see how much of that you've learned and embodied, and you're actually sharing your gifts with the world these days. So that is so beautiful to see. And we continue to grow our school. We have amazing collaboration model, that co-creation collaboration model, that I don't know where this model exists. We co-created that, even continuing to grow together. Like we share clients. Like I work with clients online on Zoom because I'm in California. You and Lisa and people who also graduated, like they also work with people in person, right? So we combine different models of collaboration to serve people the best we can, right? And we grow together. So just as wrapping up our conversation, we can of course continue for many, many hours, and I'm sure it's not our last interview, the conversation, but wrapping it up for today, what would you say to people who would like to join the school, this second cohort of apprenticeship program, and what would you say to them? What kind of people do you think this program is? What kind of where they're at in their life that will serve them? It's obviously not just like personal tantra, which in this second cohort I broke it down. There is a 6 months of personal tantra and embodiment and deep inner work, right? Working with yourself, leading yourself. And then the second part will be facilitation and coaching and learning how to lead others. So what would you say to people who want to join our community, our school, and grow with us?
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful question. I love that question. So if I were to be on stage and share my heart and my love, I think I would put it in a way where I would want to connect with those people who feel like they've been doing a lot of work on themselves. They've been on this spiritual path. They're spiritually in tuned, but there's something more. There's a desire. They feel drawn towards something to go a little bit deeper with their spiritual practices. And so if they even feel like connected or drawn towards maybe doing something like Tantra, I would encourage it, because what it is Tantra allows you to, come into the body and descend it instead of like completely transcending the body, right? And one of the things that I teach is we came to this earth to experience the body. And we can experience healing, growth, transformation, spirituality through the body, not of the body, even though we can have those beautiful transcendental experiences, especially when we incorporate breath work into it. But I would encourage anybody who feels like maybe there's something more, like if they have any desire to connect even more just within themselves, within their body, maybe they want to feel more of that sensual energy, that life force energy that we do connect with a lot, because we're able to pull that up through our body. That is our area of creation. To not be afraid or ashamed of that. Like maybe if there's people in that crowd who are like, I don't know, like I don't feel connected with my sensuality, my sexuality, I'd be like, well, here you are. And it's not what you think it is. This is literally such a beautiful way to start getting that energy flowing through. And once you open up those chakras and you truly start embodying yourself, not only does it like allow you to kind of root down into the earth, but at the same time, it allows you to root up to source. And when you're connected to source, like through the body, you start receiving a lot of downloads, revelation, insight, and you start really listening to your body. And so there's so much that you could be taught through your body alone. And so if there's something inside you feeling like you need more, you would love to be more embodied, you'd love to learn how to use the energy within your body. That's what Tantra teaches you to do. And I would encourage them. I'd say you probably have gifts already if you're sitting here in front of us. You probably have done a lot of work. You're on this beautiful spiritual and healing path. I'm like, but one of the best things you can do is, if you're feeling like you need more, is surrounding yourself with people who can help see you and cultivate those gifts within you. And that doesn't mean you have to go out and be a leader, but it will teach you to be embodied, to really feel into your body, move the energy up, allow that to create, transform, heal, expand. And that example that you share, whether you decide to be a tantrika or a leader within the community, it can be the most beautiful part about Tantra is it can be weaved in with anything that you are doing. It is not a religion. It's a beautiful spiritual path through embodiment. And learning how to be in the body again is why we're here. I truly believe that we are learning to, it's through the body where we're able to expand our consciousness in a way that can't be done without it. And so we come here to Earth School to be able to experience contrast, to be able to be in the body. So don't transcend it. Learn how to work through it, feel into it, and surround yourself with people like Lana or our tribe, our community that we've created, who can help you cultivate your own medicine within it. You can live, you're already lost. Many people are already living a very tantric life. They just don't know it. So being able to create that awareness is really going to help them even go deeper within their body, remain rooted and grounded, but also receive so much inspiration, guidance, download, through source, through your higher self. This journey for me personally has been absolutely incredible. And I started just knowing I wanted it for myself, knowing there was something more. I felt that connection. And so I think that's what I would share. It's changed my life. This apprenticeship has changed my life. It's helped me be able to channel and to be in flow and to trust my body and my breath. And that's what I teach people at my events. Like, I'm there. They think that maybe they're there to have me help change them. But I'm not. I let them know I'm just the conduit. I'm just the facilitator. Trust your body, trust your breath. And when people start trusting their body and trusting their breath, magic happens. Miracles happen.
Yes. Miracles become normal in our
Yeah, they
community, in
become
our space.
normal. And life becomes brighter. Like, life for you might feel black and white right now. Maybe people have gone through divorces. I've been there too. But if you're sitting in front of me, or if you're connecting with Lana or anyone within this apprenticeship, this tribe that we've created, know that you are on the cusp of your life going from black and white to being full of color, creating a life you've never thought you could. And it just starts happening. And it all happens with awareness and knowing there's something more. And then getting embodied, and then surrounding yourself and surrounding yourself with those people who can cultivate those gifts within you. Yeah.
Wow. So powerful, so magnificent, Lacey. This is Lacey in her power, in her true light, in her full expression. And you see how we cultivate mutual support, right? It's a peer group, right? Leadership can be so isolating, so lonely. Entrepreneurship, right? Like being in the healing industry these days, there's so much is going on. There's people feel, competitive again because it's like saturated space, and people who did some work that they want to teach others. And it's just such a crowded place. And when you are in the community that is spacious, is mutually supportive, is real, like exploring real depth, the realness of what's going on, the relational intelligence, and new paradigm of leadership that is not, hierarchy anymore, right? It's a mycelial leadership where we are part of this ecosystem that we're building and co-creating together. And each of us has their own important, unique role. And we see each other in that role and we weave it together, right? Tantra is about weaving all the elements together. So we create this field of prosperity, of peace, of love, of connection, of growth, right? And that's what our mission is on this planet at this time, right? To cultivate not just the personal healing and growth, and not just like our relationship with our partners, which is another dimension, another conversation that we can have, but also leadership, a new paradigm of leadership, tantric embodied leadership, mycelial leadership, where we can all have our own place, we can all feel important on mission and supported by others who can reflect something that we don't see about ourselves, who can help us weave their own gifts and collaborate and co-create together. So thank you so much, Lacey. And you can find out more about Lacey's work. I will share links with this video. I will share more about our school. I will share more about our independent businesses, and also these businesses, we all collaborated with each other, right? So we have freedom and we have collaboration and mutual support. So that's how we choose to grow together. So if you're drawn to this space, if you're drawn to this work, if you're intrigued by Tantra and feel there is something there for you, you're welcome to reach out and connect with us. And we'll have a conversation and see what is your next chapter, what is possible for you.
Yeah, it's an exciting journey, and Lana's the best. So
thank you, Lacey. All right, so we'll come back and have more conversations in the future, but for now we're saying goodbye. And thank you so much, Lacey, for showing up and sharing your magic with us.
Thank you so much for seeing me. I love you.
I love you.
And I love all of you. Come with us. Okay, have a good day.